But yeah, it's a little too big for me personally. How big is it? Is it 35 inches? How big is this TV? It is 35 inches, yeah. It's a little bit too big for me.
By G2, Dokkaebi will be eliminated from the attack.
Not a bad operator to remove at all. Capitao will follow suit, and we've seen him banned quite a few times in the group stage. He was actually banned roughly 80% of the time due to how effective those asphyxiation bolts from the crossbow are, as well as those smoke bolts. They don't get ADS from Jaeger, so always a useful tool to not get captured out of the air. Mira will follow suit as well, and, well, that one's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep, we've seen that ban coming in for quite a while. The utility that Mira provides for the defending team is far too much for most teams to want to deal with, and it's basically just been standard meta for better
Wanting
part
to
of
get
a
back
year
into
now.
Siege,
So
come join the dark side with me. What the hell?
Very rarely be deviating away from
I thought about
that.
playing
We'll have to
today,
see if that'll end up
maybe.
being the case for the rest of our 2 maps in the series as well. Echo
I wanted to
being the
watch
final
this,
ban
though, at least the
again,
first
making
map.
sense. We've normally seen either Echo or Maestro due to that strong capability to deny plants, especially when it comes down to a zero timer plant, which we've been seeing more and more teams rely on as of late. It's a very common occurrence, and Echo means an instant win in that scenario. So a lot of teams don't want to deal with that. They immediately get rid of them. We'll start out in lobby, actually, which is a little bit more of a dangerous site to play on just because the attackers will have direct access to it, to the front door of the building, but this has started to become more common
cool
trend
stage
amongst a lot of teams as well. And I think we're just having G2 testing the waters here early on against TSM.
Well, they also are adopting all of the ACOGs they possibly can. They have four possible on their setup right now with Rook, Maestro, Kaid, and Doc. So they have a possibility of those 4 ACOGs. Obviously, Pengu cannot possibly get one on Mozzie, but could be going for a very aggressive outlook here on the mid floor.
So both of the operators there, we're seeing both Rook and Doc being brought into it. Brothers in Arms here going to add quite a bit of range capability, which does make you think about what exactly we're going to see G2's strategy be, if they're indeed going to try to get into the faces of TSM and mess them up right from the very start of this round, or something
Justin,
different.
do you
potentially
toggle
be in the
lean
cards
still?
As for
Or,
our attackers, we
wait.
need to see them come out strong. Players like
you toggle?
Merc had hit or miss matches, and they've come to rely on Merc quite heavily in order to make impact early on in these rounds, and entry in some cases might have shifted him away from
This
that
is
over the
so
course of the group
confusing.
stage due to his shaky performance, so we need to
Holy
see him
fuck.
step up, and as you can see, he's taken on that Ashe, so we're still going to look to him as being the front runner for this team when entering the building.
Yeah, something we haven't seen from
This is
Merc
so hard
far
to
is
watch.
he's either a
Oh
0
my
or a 100
goodness.
player. He
Exactly.
either completely ruins the other team, or he hasn't even been in the server.
It's hard to tell what site they're even
Luckily,
on.
TSM was
I don't know
able
what
to
site
find
they're
a
on.
way through that
Oh, they're
on
downstairs.
Villa against MIBR, but they're definitely going to want him for this G2 game. He has to be awake. He has to be getting these frags that they need so badly.
God, my eye.
Fight their way
Fuck.
through this forest.
So a bit of a slow start here. You can tell TSM is aware of the danger of trying to take control, but you can see they've already moved in and gotten decent control over admin. Quite a few drones out on the field for them too to start maneuvering forward. And we have a slight duel being taken here now on the top floor. Bolo just trying to knock out one of the members of G2 on the other side of the table, but not going to be able to find him. Still plenty of time though, only a minute into the opening round here.
Still plenty of time indeed, as no damage has been done yet to anyone. TSM taking their time clearing upstairs, and might take a little bit longer as we do still see some drones rotating around on the top level, as Achieved is focusing his sights on Projector. Merc currently battling for Flag Hallway, but there's no one home, as Pengu actually is upstairs inside a bathroom and could give them a run for their money if they did not end up getting a drone inside of there, especially with Mozzie's kit, able to steal those drones away for his own liking.
About a minute and a half remaining here. We need to start to see them make a move soon. And again, basically no damage being done to either team. That's going to start to change now, though. Goga attempts to take a duel from the downstairs bathroom. It'll clear him out. Pojo Man, where's he going for this planet right now? He's been able to sneak it right in. Cantor Kenny will take him out. We have a C4 moving in. Oh, it's not going to be able to stop the plant from going down, but it does confirm the second kill for G2. A nice advantage for them. Merc is looking to trade, but it's not going to be found. Kanto instead picks up his second. Merc will trade on the Kanto. Finally dealing with that issue, but now it's all on Merc upstairs, and Biologic trying to wrap around. And Goga, he's already on the counter defuse, trying to spam through on a hard ping. Fabian, though, is going to be able to take out Bio. Pingo finishes off Merc, and there we go. G2 shut it down on the retake and managed to swing round number 1 into their favor.
Extremely clean by Pengu upstairs. Merc assumed that he got the kill when it hit the kill feed, but it was not who he was looking for. Those Pengu up top, and said he got another kill, so Pengu was allowed to stay in the corner of Projector. Do a little bit of an outplay maneuver.
That's my monitor.
Merc still takes top control. All of a sudden, G2 has the lead that they've needed. So first round, as we've got still quite a long road to see what we're going to get for a victor here. But TSM, I'd say, coming out especially, not too sloppy at all. Things started to divulge later on once the utility usage came out from G2, but definitely some redeemable quality so far on this attacking side.
As you saw there, did get tripped up mainly by Kanto, who did a fantastic job picking up those kills. Merc with a good exchange once he got the outside ping there, a good swing onto that. Unfortunately, not enough at the end of the day, as they did have to go for a bit of a haphazard plant, forcing the issue in through that main door. Didn't really have anywhere near enough time to secure post-plant positions, as we saw. Yes, they barely got the diffuser onto the ground, but by the time they had it, it was already a 5v3, so just a very unstable plant. TSM, though, has been surprising me with how often they're able to get the plant. That was a pretty consistent theme even in the group stage from them, too. So already seeing that on round number 1 gives good hopes for people watching their attacking side and hoping that they might be able to at least make it that deep into the round. It's now the post-plant that they'll have to work on for future sites.
I'm trying to think
Obviously,
how they
again,
make this
our
easier
defense
to
won,
watch.
So that means the initial site is locked for the next 2 rounds until round 4, meaning we're going to the basement next, because based on the selection from G2.
Correct, and as in recent history on console, we've seen a lot of people actually go out of order as opposed to what we're used to. Usually you start upstairs in console office, work your way down to the basement, then go lobby as a last resort. A lot of teams have started lobby now to try and throw off offensive lineups of operator choices to where they don't have exactly what they need in order to handle those lobby holds. And well, you saw it firsthand, folks. G2 able to fight their way through a lot. Even though that diffuser did go down, they immediately were able to reclaim and get the bomb diffused, especially off the back of a lot of frags coming out from the defensive side upstairs. Now jumping into round 2, they will be facing the downstairs area. It's that cafeteria and garage area we're so used to on this map. Now it's been in for quite a long time. We're going to have some EMPs go down from the likes of Biologic now, and Pojo Man working on the garage.
Pretty comfortable picks coming in this time for G2 as well. Uno going over to the Alibi even in order to use that MX4 Storm. The gadget, of course, on her not being utilized too much just for its actual utility, more so the flexibility that she can bring. Currently on the yellow stairs right now, you see her trying to lurk down and trap some of these players over by the main door, but instead it's going to be Kanto once again upstairs that manages to catch Biologic on the Thatcher as well. A huge kill this early on. That's going to cause problems for our attackers in trying to swing the door open. Thankfully, it looks like they already got garage open, so maybe it's not as big of a deal as I originally thought.
Well, Pengu's still holding down Piano as well. Kanto with a very nice shot
cool.
from upstairs, and this is
Little
actually
replay was
very
cool.
troubling because Kanto is still upstairs. So the way that G2 is playing this is they more or less have a rotation upstairs that Kanto can drop down and help Pengu once he gets into trouble. Merc might be walking into a death trap here as well, as he is rotating from the teller's side as Achieved is working his buck play down yellow. Does have one man poised behind white van. Doesn't have any more frag grenades to try and handle that situation. Uno from up top once again will take down Merc.
It's a roaming presence right now starting to cause problems for the guys on TSM as they attempt to push their way back in. Achieve going to take some damage, but he ends up coming out on top of a duel versus Goga. We see another kill picked up as well here. Quite an exchange as we'll take a quick look there at Uno's kill from a few seconds ago, but ultimately Kanto and Uno, that roaming presence is far too much for TSM to deal with. And they get crushed on a last-minute attempted execute, setting up a 2-0 lead for G2.
G2's defensive setups have always been something that will just snuff out your offense. You can't do things by yourself. You need a lot of information, and you have to act on it immediately because they like to rotate. They'll make you fight for that map control, but on a lot of the times, it's only them spread out across a small area of the map. For instance, we have someone sitting top spiral. We had Uno up there. We had Kanto playing console office. Then we have Pengu inside a piano. There's holding down the important rooms so that, for instance, Achieved can't go upstairs with Buck through the console floor, Buck through the piano floor, from upstairs, get those bandit batteries off. Instead, they make them try and fight their way in, and they already have so many angles set up, it's more or less a meat grinder than it is an actual building.
And we saw that going up until the very end. The positions being held, Achieve being denied so much into the round as well. He was only able to find impact at the very end when his team forced the issue and attempted to push the site. Same thing as our initial round. G2 win on the defense, so now our basement site is locked. We go into the second round,
The
or
little
third round
drone.
of the map, excuse me.
That's funny.
G2 will now head upstairs.
The little
to
drones
the
look so
third
funny on
point,
this view.
what I like to call their site triangle. They win this one, they can go right back to the first point as those initial sites they won will be unlocked for use once again.
And this is just extremely scary already by G2, and again, this is their first match. They've waited all day today to play on the main stage. We are still in the quarterfinals, and they come out swinging like this. Granted, you obviously do warm up firsthand before you get into the actual match. But to see them so dominant already coming out on Consulate, especially when it's TSM's pick, it's definitely something that is a focal point right now.
It's not a good sign when TSM are having problems just getting into the building, as we saw there on our second round, let alone actually getting to a point where they can find a plant. It might have just been the ease of access on the first round that gave them that opportunity to plant, on top of the fact that G2 seemed to be roaming around the map pretty heavily and trying to deny that access. Once again, though, as is normal for this upstairs site, admin and that right side of the map is going to be the focus here for TSM on the attack, as they've got players rappelling up the windows now, try and swing in. They've been able to drone it out, so Bolo is going to work his way in as the first player to set foot into the building for this round.
For TSM, I feel the only thing that they can really do in order to counter what G2 is pulling off right now on Consulate is you have to go for the full clear. You can't just focus your bearings on site, otherwise you're immediately going to get dumpstered by G2's defense. They make themselves known. They're not going to lay back and go, hey, there's some roaming people, you have to come find us. No, they'll make sure that you know that they are roaming. As far as we know from Kanto already this game, the man has been making himself known from outside, getting those spawn kills per se, out of those windows, especially like Bio earlier in that last round, taking down Thatcher. They're going to continue to try and push you to your limit outside and force you to make this clear. Otherwise, you're, once again, just going to get eaten up inside of that meat grinder, and it's going to be another round for G2.
The unfortunate thing for TSM, though, is that it's going to be so difficult for them to try and tear apart G2's setup, because ultimately, they can't really know that much about it. A nade going in. It is going to finish off Pengu and take him down, with a Chi striking the final blow to finish things off. But yeah, we have to remember, again, G2 hasn't really played this map publicly in quite a long time, meaning that their setups and how they like to play the game is a pure mystery, more than likely, to TSM. Second strike is true, though. Biologic is able to snipe out Uno, as they do seem to be dealing with that early roaming presence a lot better.
G2 now, they still have all they need to try and hold down this site, including Fabian inside of Bathroom.
I really think Spectate needs a mini-map.
Goga throws himself from a window and takes down
if Spectate had
to get closer to equalizing. It appears that he will also be able to maintain his life as he rotates back in. Diffuser now going down for Pojo, as Kanto will pick up one as Fabian rotates in, but Merc will be able to clean him up. Diffuser will get confirmed, and Kanto doesn't really seem to have a will or a way to get through with this right now. Rotation in from Pojo with some quick shots as Kanto can't win it out, and TSM with their very first round.
I think honestly, for me watching this right now, I feel like if they had a mini map for the person that you were spectating only on the level, this would be kind of hard to integrate, but I think it'd be really cool. If you're on the third level and you're spectating someone that's on the third level, it has a mini map of everyone on that third level. And if you keep swapping players, each player will show different levels of where they are. I feel like that would make it so, it would make so much more sense for me, because like if you didn't know the map and where the people were positioned, at least you'd kind of have an idea of like, oh shit, okay, there's a guy to his left, a guy to his right. You can't know where anyone is if you don't know the game and you don't know the map, if they're not directly looking in that area, you know?
TSM did a very good job of cutting off rotations from the defense, not allowing them to rotate back to site. And this might be the rest that they need to throw into the machine of G2 in order to stunt their progress through this defensive half.
It's like Nuke, but on steroids. I don't know. I think just me watching this right now, I think it could be so much easier. If I saw somebody take the third floor, like think if I saw Boners, if I saw him take the third floor, okay, and he went in and he vaulted in that third floor, and it immediately, the second he vaulted and he got in that building, boom, that third floor was all mapped in the top right or top left or something, and I could just see boom, 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 this is where the people are. Perfect. I think it would help.
They attacked here. They ended up getting the diffuser down in some very weird circumstances, but it was immediately answered by G2 with a nitro cell and a, hey, how are you doing? I have it all done. So the offense is going to have to try and shut down that anti-chamber area to make it a little bit harder for G2 to try and get pressure back when you try to put that diffuser down. Also, the top pressure was just not what they needed in order to get rid of Pengu. They really only sent Merc up top, and he got immediately dealt with after Kanto had already hopped outside.
Keep in mind as well, Merck's had a pretty hit-or-miss record, so still putting him in these very important roles.
She's like, right now he's bottom floor. I wish I knew immediately how many people were on bottom floor because I'm watching him.
So I'll have to keep him on that for now.
I think it's three.
Really like
I think
what
it's three
TSM is doing
teammates.
right now. They're
But I don't
clearing
know.
downstairs because nitro cells are so important on this site. You actually open up all the hatches in that lobby area, and you're able to shut down anyone that's attempting to plant inside of the corner. But it's not going to help out too far. Bolo's going to pre-fire. Fabio will put him inside of the grinder as well. Uno continues to add on, and all of a sudden G2 looking like fire in round 4.
Uno on the inside of Piano, taking quite the duel right now, managing to keep himself alive just barely. He is on Rook, so no cell feels to be seen there. Goga comes in for the assist though, and is able to knock out Achieved on the inside, leaving only Pojo Man in the fight. We've seen incredible clutch capability from this man over the past couple of weeks, but this is probably going to be asking just a little bit too much. The angle has now been established by Fabian, and a quick adjustment to his head will knock out Pojo Man and give G2 their flawless round, and of course a 3-1 lead over TSM.
Well, the spark of hope came for TSM there just for a second, that they were going to be able to maybe tighten this up, possibly gain the lead. But G2 immediately snuffs it out with a flawless round, and we're going to have to
neutralize.
To figure out exactly how this is going to
25 gifted tier 1s. Thank you so much, dude. Shit. Pog. Claps.
To be able to flex their muscles around this and continue to throw different looks towards TSM to throw them off, especially against these younger teams and newer setups where TSM really, as this roster, has only been together for just about 3 months. It's typically pretty easy to work your way around them with flexibility, and it appears that G2 is doing that right now.
As we just saw from the replays, another consistent issue here is constant bullying from the windows that's coming out from G2. TSM are losing at least one player on almost every single round to a window peak from G2, and that is just not something that they can tolerate on every single round. They need this full squad.
They're all using wireless mice.
The full power of G2, and losing these players early is not helping their case at this point.
The amount of contention that G2 throws to the outside, like we were talking about earlier, you can play extremely aggressive on the windows because there's so damn many of them. And with that amount of windows, you can't possibly take the time to check every single one. You can check the routine ones, you can check the one from connector upstairs, you can check the lobby door, you can check piano windows. But there's so many that you have to be concerned with that it's very easy to just punch a hole in all of them and go, okay, now you just have to play Russian roulette with windows and really, really hope that you don't get shot in your face.
Wireless is the wave, you're right. I'm on that wave.
In just a second here, though, the attackers are going to be let out once again. They have now spawned, and for the second time this half, they will attack the basement site. Last time they lost it, unfortunately, to the defensive side of G2, which has continued to look strong. At this point, the only round TSM has been able to win was an upstairs attack.
All right, well, TSM now focused on the basement site. Big road game once again for G2, and this is what we've been absolutely used to, where they will make you battle for every ounce of map control you could possibly hope for. They usually give you a safe haven, though, and that's exactly what we're seeing once again. Admin completely empty, but once you work your way to the west a little bit, you will start seeing Kanto and some other name pop up. But as of right now, it seems the main focus of Merc will be Kanto as he rotates all the way over towards yellow stairs. Gonna help him out quite a bit as well, since, as you can see, G2 always have somebody else laying out in the cut, just waiting for someone to peek, and Uno from the bottom of Spiral will take down Bio.
An important kill to find once again here. G2 are finding important players very early on in the round. The Nomad has the capability to restrict the more aggressive players from G2 from being able to successfully flank around TSM. That's through those air jab missiles that he's able to put into a corner or somewhere on the map. Defenders are given a slight audio cue that it's there, but oftentimes in a rush situation will not notice it. And if they get hit by it, they're stunned onto the ground, giving a chance for the attackers to respond and more than likely kill them if they're close enough.
G2's defense right now, especially with the drone game that they've been able to perform, they allow you to get distracted.
They're getting
like Kanto.
Window pressure again.
Down Pojo, and once again, as you said, window pressure. But this roam game, TSM just cannot shut down. They're trying to bring the tools in order to get rid of G2's roam game, but there's just so many different obstacles that they have to cross that they're not accounting for, and that's why G2 right now is besting TSM. This roam game, especially with how much support they put on one roamer, as in Kanto. He has the support from downstairs of Uno, which Uno can just freely challenge into tellers. There's not too much damage that can possibly come from him, and worst case scenario, if he's about to lose the gunfight, he can always try and dip back in quickly.
We have seen G2 retreat all 5 of their players into the basement. Now that they had the 5v3 advantage, they've been able to push that even further with Uno's most recent pickup. Down to a 5v2 now. Not really any execute ops remaining here either. Merc, of course, on a Jackal is going to be great for an early round, but has somewhat limited effectiveness going into a late round, unless he's going to get lucky and get the footsteps of a player that recently rotated. Pengo as well establishes an angle through the floorboards there to try and knock out one of the players, but is not going to find it. Uno picks up a kill. Achieved from the attacking side, will be able to trade, but now he's limited, also with less than 30 seconds left here to push into it. Not much hope. Uno
He's
with one
owning.
more peek finishes things off for G2, and they continue to excel at a 4-1 lead.
They have to find a way in order to get some information on other parts of the site. I don't know whether it's prep drones right now for TSM that just aren't working out, they're being found or what have you, but they have to have information on that mid-level. If they don't, otherwise this is just going to continue to happen to them on this defensive side. We only have one more defensive round, so they only have one more crack at it, unless we get to overtime, which right now is not looking like it's going to happen, unless TSM is just absolutely gods on defense.
Yeah, unless they've had some crazy stuff prepared for the defense. I mean, the attack,
Jesus
unfortunately,
Christ,
not
that guy's
looking like much can
insane.
come from it at this point, as G2's early round aggressiveness is just far too much for TSM to deal with. And as we've started to see, they'll continue to peel that pressure back in the late round, hunker down on the site, and unfortunately TSM's execute capability has also been lacking here when it comes to the late round. We've only seen one successful plant from them so far in the entire half, so it's hard to bargain that they can even come back from these disadvantaged 3v5s or whatever the number disadvantage they have always sat at in the round is.
For TSM right now, I really feel like they just need to maintain focus a little bit closer instead of trying to go for the massive plan at the beginning where it's more or less, hey, we need to do this in order to do this, in order to do this, in order to do this to get the bomb down. Instead, they need to go a lot
G2 has never
closer
lost a
in
major
vision
final.
and focus on getting
crazy.
one room into the next room and just progressively move forward instead of having your eyes on the prize but not having the list in order to achieve what you want to get done. Because right now, that's really what it seems like. They have a general idea of how they want to attack Consulate, but G2 is throwing a wrench into every single one of their plans. Instead, focus on, okay, we have admin. All right, now we're progressing towards Spiral. We have Spiral control. What can we do with Spiral control? Okay, we can pressure benches as well as lobby. If we get a pick lobby, then maybe we try to plant lobby or something along those lines. But as it is upstairs, you're more than likely going to be seeing the plant go down a projector, but just spitballing into the wind, more or less.
TSM also consistently changing their operator lineup quite a bit here too to try and flex their way around G2 a little bit here, but unfortunately none of that has been working to such a large degree.
Oh, man.
For a second, we have the scoreboard up. You can see it's a very, very one-sided match right now with most of G2's players.
Where's the
Here we
noob
go. Thank you
stream
very
for
much,
this
guys.
broadcast?
You can see being up in the upper like 5 to 10 range right now for some of their stars. The big highlight here is Bolo at the moment. You can see at the top left, currently with 0 kills, 0 assists, and 5 deaths. This has been a player that was quintessential in winning their group stage games when players like Merc were lagging behind. And again, Merc,
Listen, man, he's just getting warmed up. Okay, first map.
but again, he's not finding anywhere close
Relax.
to that impact in some of the tournaments we've been seeing in the online sectors, such as USN and even in stuff like Pro League.
G2 still playing extremely tight-knit, as you see. That's the one thing that you always have to give G2 credit on. They always have somebody supporting someone else on everything they do. Even down the stairs with the roam game that they have in lobby. They have Uno downstairs, as well as they have Kanto that's playing inside a piano. So one taps will follow suit,
Oh
and actually
my
Kanto and
God.
Goga both go fishing and find two.
Pengu knows he's got someone rappelling down on the balcony windows here too. And
Not
Azo
again.
No, it's going to roll a little bit too far. Does still do a decent amount of damage to Pengu, but he's in full control. Doesn't even panic under that situation. Knows the nade's going to roll too far, so he stays alive in position on the site right now. Biologic finally picks up another trade in TSM's favor and is going to be able to knock out the Mute and Goga, but a small gesture at this point considering that his team has also lost 2 players.
TSM still trying to find a foothold on this site. They've only been able to do it one time, but getting
Nice.
closer as Pengu finally falls after that earlier frag grenade. Did quite a bit of damage, but it did not do enough to finish him off. Uno removing a drum from play. Actually might come up with a kill here. A quick flip, but he's going to be met with actually dual pressure as the Chief pressures the front door, takes down Uno, and all of a sudden they have that pressure relieved from downstairs.
Are they going to win this round? I think they will.
Kanto both on site. We've seen these two.
No, don't peek 'em. Wait for the boys. Yeah.
Fabian gets shut
Yeah,
down
yeah,
from
yeah,
the flank
yeah.
hallway as Bolo finds his first kill. Kanto can stop Diffuser though, as you see the black eye cam in the corner, trying to grab his shoulder, but he can't. Does a little bit of damage. Free Fire finds Bolo, has a pistol.
Oh
isn't able
my
to
God,
win
I thought he was
against
about to win.
And TSM with their second round.
So at the end of the first half, we'll sit at 2-4. I do like the adjustment that we saw there from TSM throughout the half. That was one thing I noticed in the
Hell
early
yeah.
half.
Everyone's so stoked. They want TSM to win.
They tend to take a lot less time to execute than most teams. And when they finally get a plan on the ground, you'll see 20, 30 seconds on the clock compared to your
Come on,
average other
Bulos,
pro team,
bowlers,
which is basically
Boulder.
0 if they have a choice in the matter. So they tried to slow that down, and I think use those extra 20 seconds for extra clearance and just extra assurance that what they're they're executing into is safe, and I think that helped to make things a little bit better for these final few rounds on attack for them. Nonetheless, though, that is now over. The teams have switched sides, and we'll be going into the second half in just a moment.
The good news is for TSM is that they've recognized out how G2's playstyle is on console. They like to be all over the map to where, okay, did Uno fall inside a lobby? We can immediately pick up that mantle. We might have a Nitro Cell. We might have some utility that can play that vertically underneath Projector if somebody tries to plant, or the Black Eye cam that they had inside of there as well. Just shoot to the floor, kill the man who's trying to put the diffuser down. With TSM recognizing that out, they're allowed to put, well, they're forcing pressure to other areas and taking down these operators.
That's a cool trophy. What the fuck?
And it seems
I want that.
they are
Can I have
prepared
that?
for that roam game to come, but might be too little too late, as we just are switching sides now. So you are going to have TSM on defense, G2 on offense.
Yeah, TSM, like we said before, still needs to bring out some big stuff to bring them back into the second half. Unfortunately, sitting 2-4 against G2 is not going to look good, especially when G2's own aggression works well. That blends them.
Thank you for the $5
over to
scum
what may
wheeze.
happen
Thank you.
On the attacking side, if they try to play into a similar style. At the same time, though, they do have to give some respect to TSM, as TSM's defense is also known to be quite wild, quite aggressive, like we've seen from a lot of teams over the last year or so now. I think Reciprocity and Empire kind of started that trend towards the end of last year. We start to see more and more teams such as TSM adapt into that onto their defense.
I would say a lot of people learned more of an aggressive style from LATAM, and Rec was always like that, all the way back to C9. C9, they're a little bit more rigid, but they still had those plays where you saw people
Wait, I thought
C9
is not in this anymore.
Which is fine.
Are they?
Going into Rec, yes, I would definitely agree with you. They're a lot more flexible, a lot more aggressive for sure, but I would have to say that's more or less just high school comparative to a PhD over on Empire side, because they play it to a T almost every single time. And also with the likes of G2, which, again, they are at this point, 3-time major champion. They haven't lost a major since they won their first one.
This would be the
well, they're about to lose today.
Weren't able to complete the run
right now. Let's go, Boolers.
Things seem to be going well from G2, but there was some light at the end of the tunnel there from TSM at the end of the first half. Now it's time to see how their defense will go. So they'll be starting out in the basement here, doing their setup now.
Okay, so TSM allocated into a little bit more of an aggressive lineup. We're already going to have Merc on the
Let's
visual.
go, Boolers. Boulder.
Quite a bit by Kanto
Bobo.
on the defensive half.
Boo-boo.
And he actually did pretty well with it. We saw a lot of early on picks with that vigil, as well as Uno in assistance on quite a few of those roams. So if TSM...
You should probably change your title. They're going to win. Okay, TSM's going to win.
G2, then more or less we will be going to overtime.
Look at this bandit.
But again,
okay,
G2 offense, especially on Consulate, I'm going to have to say it's still in G2's favor, especially from what TSM.
I'm glad you're streaming this. Get R6 bigger.
Overall, I know we don't have too much VOD obviously
man.
on these two teams.
I feel like R6 deserves to be bigger. You know what I mean?
These teams, so this is a lot newer for a lot of people to be seeing these two names.
Hey, again, you can kind of understand the pick from TSM here, but it seems like they might have fallen right into G2's trap due to what Zeronic was saying.
Isn't it always a trap, though? It's always a trap.
Seems to be.
They're always saving strats.
TSM had some, again, just to go back to it, TSM did have some really good results back at the minor at DreamHack Valencia, which may have been what they used to justify now bringing this back into the fold once again for this LAN. Unfortunately, as they were talking about,
is that my char? No.
G2 was also
He's too
very
cool.
much ready to play this map.
He would never.
A complete lack of it in their history. And again, it seems things will start out well for them on the attack as Fabian strikes first here on the opening round of it as they start to clear out the second floor.
This guy doesn't even use a charm. He's so sick. Kento.
Can't even tag up a
He's straight egoing the whole community.
Scot-free, but not from lack of bullets, as we will have yet another kill come through. It'll be Bolo taking down Fabian. That's actually a massive pick. The Jackal now off the board, so can't be tracking people's footsteps any longer. Uno downstairs inside of Tellers, trying to force his way downstairs, but soon finds out the hatch has been sealed.
So time continuing to tick lower here. G2 definitely stretching it out a little bit more than we saw from TSM. Good amount of patience showing up from G2 as they try to figure out how exactly to get past this defensive setup. Now working on the bathroom player, good patience.
Oh, damn, he just got walled.
He end up taking the load of damage
never mind.
Thankfully, it's not that bad. Only ends up losing about 25 HP. Still 75 left to be eliminated. Goga, though, or excuse me, Uno, for the pinch, and they seem to be very well aware of the player at Spiral Stairs. Pengu will be able to take out Bolo. I believe that was the bathroom player going down, and now they can
what the fuck's going on?
The bathroom, go through the hatch, and get access through the basement. We can see Uno doing some reconstruction over here towards the piano room and the connector into lobby to give them purview.
We lost Bobo. That's not good.
Out the remaining defenses from TSM, but they don't have a whole lot of time left for this. Only 50 seconds remaining.
It's actually extremely close between these two teams right now, and this might be what TSM needs. They've battled for map control quite a bit, but Uno now has Piano, so he can establish all the angles to cut off.
I don't know if TSM's good with this route, dude.
That's what he's going to try and
Monk
do right
ass.
now. Uno shifting his drone over to try and find some more information as a last-ditch effort to help out the rest of the offense as they do get aggressive to get this diffuser down. Diffuser in the hands of Goga as well.
A drone just went through the entire basement.
What do you mean the ceiling? That was the ceiling if you're down low. Oh! That guy just got random. He did not mean to hit that first guy. He meant to hit the guy in the back. He just walked in.
Try to work past the setup that they have good intel on. Those few players in the back, though, they may have been the ones that they were not able to detect previously. Diffuser attempting to go down, but it's stopped by the smoke of Pojo Man, and it's left only Uno alone with Kanto alive. Kanto as well, the sliver of HP remaining, achieved with another nice.
Who am I rooting for here? What am I doing? Let's go TSM! Hell yeah!
Biologic pick up the final kill, and TSM will pick up their first defensive round.
Very impressed by how long Achieve was allowed to stay alive with that little bit of health left.
God, my nose is so stuffy right now. Fuck. I'm gonna blow my nose real quick.
Even with that last kill on Yellow that he got, just a quick prone lay, and was able to secure that kill. It was really Achieve that highlighted that round and battled back against G2. If Merc is able to try and help Achieve accomplish this on these further rounds, he might be able to catch up on a couple more defensive halves. Anyways, the early picks from Merc, we saw quite a bit yesterday, or excuse me, not yesterday. It would be Wednesday. Yesterday was Thursday, as we just count the week, the days on our hands, right? That's how it works.
It's all a blur here.
Yeah, it's all a blur here. It's just so much siege going on. But no, we saw a lot of early picks happen to Merc in their game against MIBR. I feel like he needs to try and not contest that early on without any help. We saw damage come through from Achieved at the top of admin stairs, but oh, he's an Element. That's sad. I'm sorry for you, friend. That gun is just not good anymore, huh? just a thing. But no, if Merc doesn't die early on like that, and Achieved is allowed to help him, and they can work off of each other better, I really feel like they can take it to G2. G2 was not even able to handle just Achieved. Achieved did a lot of work that round, and again, if Merc can help him in any way with that, TSM could have a very solid defensive half.
This is a big part of this map right now as well, thanks to our stats department for this. TSM has struggled to win their opening duels, currently at a 1-6 record for the current map. And we've seen evidence of that from the defensive side that we had over on G2. That was a lot of those early window peaks that were getting them an early 5v4 advantage. And quite
all right, let's go TSM. Bueller.
Well, if you're a TSM fan right now, you at least have to feel good. I mean, this is a lot closer score of the line than I'm going to guess the rest of the world would possibly think.
He's hiding behind a tree.
On Consulate. Granted, G2 doesn't have a single body.
He's hiding behind a tree, dude.
Playing on Consulate, and really neither does TSM. They
Bro, Bulo's gonna.
They haven't lost on it, but
he's
they
about to slay
quite a bit, as we were talking about earlier. G2 now actually adopting Lion, so Goga's fed up with it, as the first EE1D will ring through, but not going to gain any information. He does still have 2 more, though, and Lion has recently been changed as well, and if you guys aren't aware of what Lion is capable of, he's actually able
IQ with the 5.52 commando, first mistake. I don't care how good you are, Kanto Toriaki. Okay,
apologies, but
that's not the gun you use.
Very quick repetition 5 times, and after it's over, no more spamming marks, but it makes it very easy for offenses like G2s to be able to shoot you through the wall or gain free information, especially if they've already droned you out and they pop one of those EE1Ds. It's extremely easy to lock.
What gun do you use? You use the LMG. Are you kidding me?
Getting hit by that utility, you need to stop moving for the entire duration of it.
It's called freeze tag.
Yep.
He's got to stop.
You have to stop moving, which obviously, if you're in the middle of an execute or something of that nature, is a huge inconvenience for our defenders.
Siege is just all about minor inconveniences.
Hello, Achieved.
Yeah, Siege is just all about minor inconveniences like EE1Ds and hopping out of windows into.
You guys are coming back slowly, and that guy just flies out the window. Okay.
On the connector upstairs between the 2 areas of the most important. G2 though have plenty of pressure across.
They're throwing. It's okay. Boulder's got this.
Picking TSM apart one
nice
by one.
biologic.
Fights back, but he's also outside. He's going to take quite a bit of damage, but he might be able to safely rotate. Bio's actually been
watch
down,
this Bolo.
Bolo will soon be shut down as well.
He got a couple bullets off.
To try and battle back and get a plant, or excuse me, a plant denial here, but looks like everyone is poised upstairs. He whips out the super shorty, but can't find anything. Definitely not going to be going outside for Biologic either, as Goga's trying to find his shoulder. He does. He'll rip the head off of Bio. This is more than likely going to be a G2 round, as Fabian will put a cap on that. And G2 still stretching their legs.
Cats with a quick little stat pad at the end of the round there. He just picks up that final kill. And overall, again, Kanto being quite significant to the entry potential there for G2 and making sure the team got into the site. He's the one that found that nice pick when they finally pushed into Projector and allowed for them to get the plant. They were struggling for so long. It did seem that the TSM kind of bit into the pressure, tried to move and get aggressive so that they could pick up some intel.
What is that Firefox plug going to use to get the follow channel and that sick green text?
Team at this point.
I don't know. It could be any color. I just changed it to green. I don't know what it's called. I'll be honest. I have no idea. I downloaded that years ago.
Sake, they've been able to recognize out how TSM wants to play this on defense, so they switch over to a much more methodical offense, which allows you
probably
to
Google it, homie.
play aggressive players when you more or less, we call them freebies, because when somebody gets aggressive, especially when sprinting through a door or trying to quickly take a gunfight, you're already ADS, you're just waiting, so you have a lot better chance on winning that gunfight unless obviously they have the info on you, they can get the pre-fire or something along those lines. But for the most part, when you're playing against someone that's extremely aggressive and likes to try and fight back, patience can definitely be a
round
virtue.
breakdown. How does that help me? There's no economy. I don't even know who wins what round.
We're going to attempt to hold the upstairs site once again. As you'll see, the operator lineup is also going to remain quite similar, if not exactly the same as what we had in the previous round. The Mozzie, of course, going to be quintessential to the roaming potential, as Mark will be taking the mantle on that one, trying to disrupt some of the drone presence that we've been seeing from these guys and prevent them from being able to move that in. And then maybe, if he gets lucky, be able to steal one of those drones for himself, and then use that as intel, be able to push aggressively from the defensive side. Not something that the defenders often get, and they'll only have access to that type of tool with this operator.
Well, so far we've been seeing quite a bit of Mozzie play, which is a newer operator to the Rainbow6 lineup, and
Mozzie
he's
owns.
Actually fantastic. He has everything you could possibly want inside of a kit: 2 armor, 2 speed, nitro cell, extremely nice secondary shotgun, 2 SMGs that are really whatever the flavor of the month is. It can either be the Roni, or you can grab the Commando.
The Brony.
Allocating to that Roni with the extended barrel. But the thing that definitely shines through for Mozzie is his pests, which are able to steal drones from the offense, which not only makes it to where you can use those drones for yourself,
and he's dead.
Definitely not going to help them out on this round.
Bolos!
Well, especially for Merc's
Let's
sake,
go.
he's already dead. Mozzie can no longer control
Let's
those
go,
drones.
Boulder.
Possibly gather some.
Let's go, Boulder.
Harder for G2 to get map awareness.
Let's go, Bulos.
Offense as well as Bio. So definitely going to be not very even amongst these trades.
And as Biologic going down, they've lost their Evil Line presence here now too, so assumably those would have been put in the same positions. They still have the access to the cameras to them, but now we are going to see G2 continue their push with plenty of time remaining now in a 4 versus 3. And with the loss of Uno, they are still in good hands right now. Tengu moving in, trying to start harassing a little bit towards the upstairs windows.
Upside down rappel more than likely going to be allocated. So that's what we've grown to notice by quite a few professional players. The upside down rappel helps you out quite a bit and exposes the least amount of your body as possible. Stun grenades now roll into CEO. Upside down rappel with a quick execution of Bolo.
Holy
Still
fuck.
going for 2 as he's poised over towards yellow. But
that was
only
insane.
2 remaining members for TSM. It's Achieved as well as Pojo Man to try and bring this back from the depths.
Defender has left the designated staging area.
Pojo Man trying to get aggressive outside, but it only ends up giving him away. Fabian catches the outside notification and quickly adjusts on the spiral stairs, be able to take him out. Goga will now have access to the site. He'll start putting the defuse on the ground, but it won't even be necessary. As even with the trade between Fabian and Achieved, it is not enough for TSM to pick up the round. G2 find it instead, and now they go onto map point.
It's a very terrifying thing for TSM because it almost feels like no matter where you are, no matter what you are doing on any part of the map, there is someone on G2 that is close to you. And that is something that I've noticed from G2's gameplay for a very long time, especially at this level when they are at LAN. You can always see that a G2 member is close enough to stop anything that is going on rotation, on a quick window hop, anything.
Oh,
They're
man,
always
that
there to
sucked.
try and thwart your plans.
Oh,
and for right
boy.
now, TSM just cannot find a way around
Oh,
that,
boy.
especially with how constricting this offense
Bulos.
has been so far by G2.
So we'll move into what could be our very last round here in just a second, folks. G2 again putting up a good stride on this attacking side, figuring out the defenses from TSM, and most importantly, dealing with the biggest threat that they would have had to find from this defensive side, and that was the roaming presence from TSM, that early round aggression that in the group stage, along with a lot of tournaments preceding this event, was so prevalent and so quintessential to TSM's strategy. No longer is it working out for them in this case.
Rage, how's No Man's Sky
New frontier
in VR?
works to work some
It looked
control
interesting.
of the early rounds
I like the
in their
jetpack
favor.
thing where you like
At the
you're
moment,
adventuring on the
they
planet
don't
and you're like kind of
Map is G2
like, it seems like you don't have to do a lot of
away
movement
from
in
close
VR, to be
command.
honest.
Discovered the location of a bomb.
Whether it's aggression
Which is
or
kinda
what have
cool.
you, TSM needs
I think
to
the
try
less
and find
movement, the
something
better.
to just throw G2
As weird as it
off.
is.
I know that's a very tall order to ask. We've never seen G2 absolutely stumped by a defense.
That's a solid
But
view on
that's
Merc
what they
here.
have to achieve right now is practically excellence, because they need 3 rounds in a row, and the only team that's found that so far is G2. That's it. So more or less, do your best G2. Do your best G2 impression, and maybe you'll be able to beat G2.
So let's see how G2 once again approach this early round. A pretty spread out attack for the most part, as you might come to find against this site. Players are going to go for second story control first. Again, that is to deal with the early roaming presence on TSM and find those players. They'll use the drones first in order to get those intels. Those are these little RC cars you see rolling around the map, in case you were curious. And again, like we've been saying multiple times,
I stood still for like 4 hours and the back of my knees were killing me.
much in this first
Damn.
minute or so of the
Yeah, it didn't look like there was much movement at all.
Just to
You're just looking around, pointing to that stuff, whatever.
Pushed in, and what is that from Achieved? Running out with a double kill. Biologic does get traded by Uno somewhere else on the map, but that's a great pick from Achieved.
That's this whole game being spectated. Someone else died somewhere where we weren't looking.
Which is
Way too hard to observe here.
Spiral where we saw Uno repel, and
That sucks, man, how hard it is to fall everything.
Probably either defending that window from a hop out or what have you. We really don't have that intel, but what we're able to
Come
find out
on,
right
man.
now is actually
That was the
Uno
worst
actually
time to
picks
do
him up from
that.
Spiral, so it wasn't Spiral. I don't know exactly where he was able to claim those 2 kills at, but nevertheless, G2 now in a pretty bad spot as TSM shows a burst of speed, able to pick up 2 early kills.
About a minute and a half remaining here now for G2 to work their way in. That nice push from Achieve may have actually just won them the round here, as both Goga and Uno are the only ones left alive for G2. Uno trying his best to jump in here without being noticed. Takes a long haul duel here. It's going to take a tiny smidge of damage. Not really anything to remark, to be completely honest here. Makes out of it. Goga will soon follow in his suit, and they'll start to work their way down the Visa stairs into the basement and attempt to work a push into cafeteria here. A little bit of drone work first as Goga pops open the hatch into archives and hopefully allows for an easier push now that he's been able to move downstairs. They do know that they have the presence from the Vigil, and his jammer ran out there right at the end, so he's going to be able to push in. Goga also falls in the process due to a push from TSM, so that leaves only Uno in the fight. And even worse than what?
Hey.
What an adjustment from Uno right there. I was about to say diffuser onto the ground. Uno's been able to retrieve it. However, the problem for Uno is, of course, the very, very low HP that he now had to work with until Mark took him down, and TSM secured another round. That's round number 1. 2 more to go to take this to overtime.
Yeah, stand up, NA. This is your last hope to try and keep someone inside of the tournament, and they have to fight against, well, I was going to say Titan, but the Samurai of G2. Because right now, G2 is looking almost surgical. TSM's definitely going to need your guys' help to try and get through this one. So show them your love, give them that noise, and we might end up with an NA team inside of the semis.
And hear those chants. Beautifully done, guys. Keep the hype rolling. Like Stokes said, this is the last hope for North America in this tournament. We started out the day with 2 teams.
Oh, that is
Here's
beautiful.
the run out. Visa
That is
stairs, and they are lined up.
Disgusting Achieved. That is gross. That is gross. That is fantastic play. And once again, like what we talked about earlier about Achieved, he's been the one to really thwart the plans of G2. If he can continue and someone can help him with that on that team, I really feel like TSM really does have at least a shot at getting past this absolute powerhouse.
We'll continue to see if they're going to be able to do that. Some success from TSM now means they need to go to an off-site, and it's going to be lobby once again, the same one that G2 is using in their own opening half on defense here. So, very exposed site. Attackers have direct access to it from the front door of the building, along with quite a few windows on the other side. But the defenders can cause problems from rooms directly above it, or in some cases even below it. So the attacking team still needs to clear out the other 2 floors as well, or risk being picked off in a haphazard push. Very similar to how TSM was eliminated in the very first round of the map.
Yeah, fuck that window up.
Adjustment in lineup for the defense as they do go to lobby. So only 2 ACOGs, definitely a little bit different from what we saw from G2, where they adopted 4 of those things. And so good at range, as we know all too well inside of the game of Siege. But other than that, we actually have some aggressive ops on the field. We have Achieved on Jaeger, which we've known him to play for a very long time. And then we have Merc on the Valkyrie. And you might be wondering why I'm highlighting the Valkyrie pick. And that's because of the amount of intel she can get for your roamers. Like Cam's outside, Cam's inside, specifically set up to try and help with those peaks of Achieve from possibly Spiral or anywhere else that they want to currently set up. But it's more than likely going to be a lot of intel outside, and that's exactly what's going to grant them this kill on Uno right now. Make sure that there is no window presence. That's actually going to hit the top of the tree, the palm tree, even helping out G2.
Hug the earth, love the earth. The earth will reward you back, I suppose. Now we will see G2 be able to get Uno back into the fight here, keeping all 5 alive. But of course, Uno will be at very much reduced HP since he was already downed. So he'll be able to wrap around. They'll still have that hard breach potential, and that's the most important part of keeping him alive, is now they still the capability to knock down any hard walls. On this site, it's not absolutely necessary to need a hard breacher to successfully attack, but it certainly helps. Fabian will instead get the first kill on the window swing, and they'll also pop off their first EE1D charge as the rest of them move in and try to take quick control. In fact, Lion is already on the inside. Goga already starting to slant. Where's the defensive setup from TSM? It's been Kanto's been able to pick Achieved in the lobby. Bio, yes, will trade onto Uno.
Come on, Boolers.
Gesture under their EE1D charge will also hold off
Let's
any
go.
to retake, but it's not working. Merc is able to take out Pengu.
Easy retake.
End of 3 versus 3.
Not really, but
Don't believe they have that black eye cam outside any longer either. So Kanto's more than likely going to have enough time outside to stay alive. Fabian takes
Let's
one.
go.
Traded out though as Bolo will remember from play. Goga popping off right now as Bolo will fall. It's only left up to Bio, SMG 11 by his side, and he can try and challenge outside, but opposed to challenging the front door. They're both outside now, so this is going to be way too difficult to really formulate anything. All it's going to take is a quick repel and more than likely a victory. Kanto from all the way outside his IQ will bring G2 one step closer to semis.
G2 just one more map away from being able to close it out, though. A good attempt from TSM to bring things back, but ultimately falling far, far too short in the opening half, and then some recovery attempts in the second half. Yes, kept them in the game for a few extra rounds, but it was not enough to push them over the edge. The dominance from G2 is very much apparent, and they will take control of map number 1, putting them only one final map away from the semifinals.
How long does it take?
Don't need anything flashy. You just need
How long does it take in between maps, do you think?
Having some really great impact throughout the course of that one as well, though a little bit more understated by the stats, but you've heard enough of our analysis on this game. Let's send it down to the analysts.
5 minutes? Really? Do they let them leave in between maps, or do they just bang them all out? Because in Counter-Strike, when you finish one map, you're allowed to leave, and it usually takes like 15 minutes.
Playing against TSM, yeah, that is a stab. I see you over there getting all blushed. Okay, all right, I'm not a caster anymore, sure. Thank you, USN caster. We're back here, though, gentlemen. G2 versus TSM. It seems like every time.
All right. Well, now we chill and we decide if we're gonna watch that second map. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Oh. Oh. Ah. All right. Look at Summit's description. Summit's description at the... Look at his description on the front page. Can you guys read this? You never know which summit you'll get. Tune in to find out. That's funny. Who decided that? Who decided that front page? What does mine say? Wow. Hell yeah. Yep, that's me. Boring. New headset? No. I think I'll watch the second map. I feel like it's going to start soon. Oh, man. I think I'll watch it. I finally have the day on my computers. Finally. Finally, I should have them on the 20th. That should be the day that they get hand delivered. I'm excited. I love the new PC feel, you know what I mean? Hey, thanks, Elevate. I appreciate it. I haven't felt that in like 5 years. Get yourself a new PC, Paul, and treat yourself. You know? Oh, also, I might go on a ride along soon in GTRP. That might happen soon. I don't know if it's going to happen today or when I get back from the weekend. So are we GTRPing today? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, there's a reason why I pulled over. There's a reason why I pulled over when I was in that race with Summit. I wanted to try to not get caught for illegal activity. So I feel like if I just kept cruising and tried to get away, now I could have gotten away. That would have been great, but they also knew who I was, so it would have been bad. So I just stopped and I just admit what happened. I just admit what happened because they knew who I was. They knew I borrowed Alan's car. They knew me and everything. And I was just like, shit, they know my name. They have a helicopter. If I get away, it doesn't even fucking matter. So I was like, shit, I'm just going to stop. What's this Remnant game people are playing? Is it new or something? Anyone? What happens if you play GTRP like normal GTA Online? What do you mean? What does that mean? I don't understand. It's kind of hard to do. Like getting a gun and going around killing everybody? Yeah, it's probably not going to fly. You'd get kicked out real quick. The game started? Thank you. Good comms. Okay, it's not loading. Hold on.
I feel much more at home here than necessarily they were on console. Something that I think they've saved.
Black Knight, I'm trying to do the exact opposite of what you're saying.
We've seen them absolutely run through a lot of teams and online matchups on before. So this still might be their salvation, a way to bring them back into the series and send us to a third map. Overall, though, G2, when it came to the fragging power, did look dominant. So it's going to be tough for us to see that. Dokkaebi is the ban once again for the first attacker selection, and we'll see Montaigne be the second.
Not a bad ban, as G2, especially in crunch time situations, really like to pick up the Monty in order to just apply free pressure. His name literally means the mountain. That's his name. It's very hard to kill a mountain, and it's very hard to kill Monty. Mira going to be banned out from TSM now, and again, you know exactly why, but we'll give you some information anyways. And if you don't know what Mira does, she actually has 2 one-way mirrors that she can put on reinforced or unreinforced walls at either crouch or standing level. It gives you instant information that if you have a soft wall to your left or right from that mirror, you're able to peek off of and try and claim a free kill. So she basically shakes up the entire way you go about attacking a site. Therefore, that is why she is removed quite often.
So Echo, of course, being our last ban.
Are you going to be a good cop or a bad cop?
Well.
You can't really be a
Same
bad
thing
cop.
That we saw in the first map once again.
Not really
drones
a
that
thing.
roam around and have the capability to interrupt plants along with other things. Isn't going to be too much for them to want to deal with, so it'll be banned out. Into the first round, we are going to go, though, folks. And it's going to be Aviator Games, where you expect most teams to start on this map. It's G2 once again on the defense, TSM on the attack.
The last time that we saw TSM on this map was actually not too long ago, Blue. It was up against MIBR, and that is actually where TSM was able to book their ticket to the main stage. It's why they're here right now, so it would be very suiting if they could possibly make it happen once again. But again, it's going to take quite a bit, and on the offensive side of TSM, during that Villa game, we saw Merc get punished quite a bit by quite a few players from MIBR on their roam games. It just did not seem like they were able to find a way around any type of pressure on Villa on their offensive side.
Now we are going to see once more if TSM can bring this powerhouse performance on Villa to the table, or if it'll be stopped by their opponents. Into the round we go, folks. Our attackers are about to be spawned in about 5 seconds. So let us see what exactly TSM has to offer on this attacking side and what G2 has on the other end of it to fend off the defense. You'll more than likely see the attacking team on this site take one of 2 approaches. The first is a push from the south side of the map into the offices, which then lead directly into the site. It's the shorter one, but it's also the riskier one, as it more than likely will leave the larger amount of defenders alive on your attack. You can also push in from the bedroom side, which does appear to be the current plan from TSM. That requires you to clear out a much larger amount of the building, but it does, of course, give you much better map control on execute.
Well, G2 has now played Lion 19% of their attacking rounds, so I thought they were supposed to be the chosen one. They used to ban Lion all the time. They got rid of him for me. We didn't have to